At the end of the day, for me, I share my experiences, also the things that I love as far as travel. I gift my team the gift of travel. So I send them on vacations. And so do my clients. I've just texted a client earlier today where I had a 2-bedroom room at the Westin in Maui. And I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go? It's a gift. So I feel like if you can incorporate your life and your dream life with whatever the business that you have, you're going to find the tribe and the culture that's going to support it and even share that vision with you.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And today, as you all know, I love bringing people who like to play bigger. And you guys are in for a treat because I have a special guest that I have known for so many years. And what I love about this woman is that we've always been at different brokerages and even in the same market, but yet we always continue to support, celebrate each other. And we've known each other for like over a decade. Our kids have played sports together, football, and she is an absolute powerhouse, has sold over $1 billion in real estate. She's spoken at our Play Bigger Women's event. And what I think makes Michelle so different is her ability to build an empire, find fun, joy, and freedom. And I don't think I've ever been with Michelle where she doesn't have a big smile on her face or is laughing. And I'm excited to have this conversation of what it actually takes to build it, let go of control so that you can experience freedom. Welcome to the show, Michelle Mojica.
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so honored to be here. And I feel the same exact way. I watch your life and I'm like, I want to be like Raquel.
We both want to like each other.
Everything, all of the above. But thank you for the great intro. I'm so honored to be here.
I am honored to have you. For whatever reason, I've always felt like you've been on our show. So it's like awesome to have you officially on our show. And I want to dive right into it. I know you are an absolute world traveler, yet you have owned your own brokerages and you're a wife of over 2 decades, a mom of 4. How the heck do you balance it all? How do you integrate like your personal and professional life to ensure that like you've got fulfillment and success?
I know a lot of people will talk about balance, right? It's a matter of priorities, I would say. I remember you and I had a conversation because your kids are into sports. And at one point, our son was into sports and we were at club soccer doing everything that we can. And my priorities really are, bottom line is whatever God says, this is what you're going to do. This is where you're going to go. And it's funny because sometimes I'll literally be like, all right, I found this room, but if it goes down and if I can find the airfare tomorrow, God, that means it's from you. So that's how I justify everything. But also our travel schedule goes around my kids' schedules. Fall break, 4-day weekend, summer breaks, any breaks that you can think of. I'm very clear with my team and my clients. I let them know I'm more than likely not going to be home, but they will always be taken care of. And everything else is like that rock demonstration where they put all the rocks in there and everything else just fits in there. And as long as you're clear with that and you realize who you are and what's important to you, those priorities are always just going to be there and everything else falls into place. And I truly believe in that.
It's so beautifully said. And I want to take it back because there are people that listen to the show that may have been in their early start of their career. So was it always like this? Or did it evolve over time? Did you have certain seasons?
I've had a lot of seasons. I've had a lot of seasons where you feel like you should have it together is when you're going to start all over again. Something will happen where God is like, nope, you're not even there yet, or let's start all over again. But one thing that I've realized is everything that I've gone through, I've needed to get to this part of my life. And I did timeshares for 14 years. I felt like at the age of 31, 32, I should have had it together. We had the 4 houses, the family, the cars, everything that I was supposed to do. And at that time, the market crashed, 2008, 2009. And I felt like most of my decisions have been how much money will it cost or how much money would I lose? And I just felt like that was how I made most of my decisions. So I decided at that time to let go with all of it. And that's when I got into real estate full time, 2008, 2009, which I think that's when we met and we had our first phone call. And that was a very long time ago. But I would say, yeah, and learning, I went through the spiritual journey of who I really am and not being influenced with how and who I needed to be. So that's why I disconnected from like real estate for at least 10 years, like as far as like real estate conferences, to really find out who I am and how I wanted my business to really look.
Yeah, I remember us traveling together to a real estate conference. Do you remember that?
We've been on a couple actually. I think, I
So
don't know if that was
you
the
were in that
same
phase.
conference.
You were in that phase of, I don't know that I actually want a goal set right now. Like we were in a
Yeah, it definitely, it was in a room full of like really incredible leaders. And I felt like I used to be this person where I was very transactional and very percentage oriented and number one. And that's just how you needed to be in timeshares. I started when I was 16 years old. It wasn't like anything was doing anything wrong or anything else, but I just felt like it was taking me back to who I used to be, which is a world that I just left where I felt very unfulfilled. So I was really looking for fulfillment. And I remember that day, I remember because I think we were even sharing a room in LA. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop drinking. I'm just gonna go on this whole journey of like servant leadership. And you were actually the very first person that asked me to speak at the Play Bigger event. And I was like, Raquel, can I just talk about, my travel stuff? Because that was like really the first time where I gotten back into real estate, like being around real estate, right? Because you do have a real estate community, but that was the very first time. So that was a special moment. So thank you for giving me that
Oh,
opportunity.
well, thank you. So speaking of fulfillment, what do you think drives you and fulfills you today?
Oh my gosh, seeing other people reach certain goals that they never thought was possible when it comes to real estate. But also, I feel like so many people, like they define themselves according to who they think they are. And what I mean by that is I love it when I see a family sitting in first class, or when they get upgraded and they send me a picture of their kids being in first class and it's their first time there. For me, that is breaking those barriers of allowing our kids to feel like they can belong anywhere. Because I feel like when you're in certain situations or environment that you're not used to, or where you feel like it's normal, you feel a bit out of place. So right now, that's where my fulfillment comes from, is really seeing other people reach whatever those goals are that they never thought was possible.
Yeah, that's a beautiful gift that you could actually play a small part in something that was once impossible, now became possible, and they're sending and sharing that moment with you, especially when it's the first time. Now, I'm going to talk about this because it's a hot topic in the real estate industry. How are you preparing your team for what's ahead with the industry changes or what's about to come?
Well, okay, so one thing about real estate is it doesn't ever stay the same, even though this is probably one of the biggest change that we're going to see, but it can't be as bad as 2008 or 2009. So when I got in and houses went from like 123,000 already in foreclosure down to 20,000 or 30,000, and realtors were getting paid 6,000 and now they're getting paid like
500.
400 or like $1,000 a property. They haven't seen anything yet. So I've always had, even with COVID, I had somebody on my team at one point lost 4 clients under contract when COVID hit. So it was my job to change the mindset of where's the opportunity in this. So there's always an opportunity. There's always one way or another of looking at things. It's either you're going to survive and thrive and see where I feel like you can actually make so much more money. New builds are already offering 4%, 5% bonuses. I mean, you can sell a $400,000 house right now and make $20,000 just off of the new builds. I'm seeing that the more experienced realtors are going to know how to negotiate, are going to know how to see opportunities. And yeah, I feel like this is actually exciting times, and also surrounding yourself with people that are going to look at this as an opportunity and be excited about it. So I'm actually pretty excited. I'm excited to see where this is all going to go in July.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've seen so many different pivots, I think, in this industry. Change is always happening. It's a matter of how you perceive like change, right? If you're afraid of it or if you see it as an opportunity. And I always love to see things as an opportunity. And speaking of your team and hiring, since you've done your fair share of hiring so many agents, you've built teams, right? What do you believe right now are the key attributes that make a team successful or make a realtor successful in today's market?
I would say who you surround yourself is really important. It's either one way or the other. I remember when we came into the market 2008, 2009, I remember REOs were big, but also realizing where your talents are, what you're great at, and what you actually enjoy. I realized I'm like, I didn't want to be an REO agent. As you had tasks you need to do one, two, three, four, five, six. I'm like, that's like having a job. But also there were short sales where you had the opportunity to still have that freedom. I would say it's one, knowing what you're great at, doing the things that you actually do enjoy if you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent, and just having fun with it. I feel like there's so many unhappy people and really people that are mad about the whole situation. But in reality, there's so much more money to make in this industry, and also surrounding yourself with all these different people that have different ideas of doing things, because there's just not going to be one way to get it done. And another thing too is building those relationships. I know we've had such a long-term relationship with each other for so many years, and you never know who you can do business with, how you can get your deals under contract. And it might be that other realtor on the other side, when you build that relationship, to advocate for you and say, we really want this offer. I know you don't want to pay the buyer's agent, but if you want this deal to come together, I know quality agents that will make sure that they have qualified buyers. If you really want to sell your house, let's work together and still be able to get it done. But relationships are key. It's key to like everything that we do in life and in business.
Oh, 1000%. You're speaking to the choir. I think for those that follow you, they see you on social media. You travel a lot. I think I just read a post where you've been through, it's like we're month 3 into 2024, and you've had like probably 7 trips already. You've been to over 60 countries. Did you envision your life like this? Take us back. Like, how have you built this life of, hey, I run a team. I'm actually able to take a step back and go travel the world, right? And it always looks so fun on social.
And it's as much fun in real life. I love Albert Einstein's quote where it says, your imagination is, I always say quotes incorrectly, but your imagination is what's your upcoming attraction, right? I was in the timeshare industry, and obviously it was a vacation industry or travel industry, but we didn't have freedom to travel, which is a reason why in that moment where the market was changing and we're losing all 4 of our houses, I really wanted to make a decision where it would allow me to have that dream of traveling the world. And I remember, and there's never going to be a perfect time. I remember when I had already left the industry and my husband was still in timeshares, and we wanted to go on our 5th year anniversary. So counting back, that was like 15 years ago. On our 5th year anniversary to Europe, I'm like, if we make it to our 5th year, we're going to Europe. So I actually had him ask for 3 extra days of days off, and he calls me and he was like, all right, no days off because we're not going, because I just got laid off. And that was like around January of that, I think 2009 maybe. And I was like, oh my God, we can even go longer. So we ended up staying and extending our trip. But I feel like this is what I've always wanted. I do know if there's something within you and you visualize it and you see it so clearly, even though you don't know how you're going to get there. I have businesses, I have kids in school and sports. You find a way. Our kids, when they were little, we would maximize the number of absences that they can have at their school. I would figure it out. But I have had this vision for a long time. And I feel like now that's the reason why I really want to create this business of the culture that I want, because I know if I've felt like this for a long time, I can't be the only one. And I know I've had other big team leads or like business owners where they're like, how do you leave and your clients don't feel like you're not going to answer the phone or you're going to drop the ball, or your team, right? Especially your team. I mean, your team, and in reality, a lot of they're paying you. And that's what most realtors feel that are on the team, whereas I'm paying my team lead to travel the world and we're just left here, working. But at the end of the day, as long as you're a good person and people know you are important to them. And I actually, when I answer my phone, whether if it's a client or my team members, I'll FaceTime them. I'll be like, oh, I'm in Puerto Vallarta. And they actually think it's actually pretty cool that I'm there and I'm talking to them. At the end of the day, for me, I share my experiences, also the things that I love as far as travel. I gift my team the gift of travel. So I send them on vacations. And so do my clients. I've just texted a client earlier today where I had a 2-bedroom room at the Westin in Maui. And I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go? It's a gift. So I feel like if you can incorporate your life and your dream life with whatever the business that you have, you're going to find the tribe and the culture that's going to support it and even share that vision with you.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you have built that today, right? Where you've got your clients, you've got the agents that really understand it. Was there ever a time where you were fearful? Because this is where most team leaders or most broker owners or anybody that's running a business, like, I can't get away, right? Was there, how did you have to shift that? Or did you have people actually leave your team that weren't in alignment at one point?
I've never had anybody that said, you travel too much, I'm going to leave the team. It's either they've outgrown our culture or they want to be like in a niche market, or if they're like, I really want to focus on Biltmore or PV or whatever that particular area is. So it was never like I was never present or supportive as a broker or a team lead. Last year, though, we were in Asia and we went to Thailand and Tokyo actually 3 times last year. And it was a little bit difficult because it was midnight there and 8 a.m. here. And it wasn't that anybody made me feel some type of way by not answering my phone because I was asleep. And I still had my own business and I obviously spoke to my team. That was probably the only time where I felt like I need for someone else to take this responsibility instead of myself, because I never want someone to feel like they couldn't call me because it's at 2 a.m. in Tokyo or in Thailand. And as you grow your business, there's going to be different levels and different decisions that you're going to have to make, which is the reason why I made that big decision last year. I only seen my life and my travel life and my travel business getting bigger. And I want to spread this culture all over the world. There was a study where one company allowed their employees to have unlimited vacations and they were even more productive. So there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's going to be those difficult decisions, but in reality, a lot of them are scary and you come out on the other side like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. And it's what everybody else needs.
Yeah, we have that policy and we've always had that policy. And I probably got it from a mentor. You could take as many days off as long as the results are there.
Yes.
As long as the things get done, but now when things fall through the cracks, like that's an issue, right? So you can take as many vacations. So I want to talk about this travel thing because I'm sure everybody's like, how does Michelle get to first class? How does she get all these free rooms, $75,000 a night or a week or whatever, and she's getting it for free? Like, let's talk to the audience, and I'm sure they're all wondering, how does she do it?
Okay, so I would say it starts with the mindset of our effort and our money should be coming back to us tenfold, 20-fold. Once you shift that mindset to my dollar should come back $20. Like right now, I haven't even done a calculation, but every time I spend money, I know it's going to go to something that's going to cost like $6,000 or $10,000. And it starts with that. And I feel like when you apply that to everything else in your life, you start figuring out things. For me, it just happens to be travel. And also when you're passionate about giving and sharing that, it just gets better and better. One of the examples, we were just in Puerto Vallarta and that room was $11,000 a night. That room was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Somebody had been watching me for the past 2 years. And since then, I have this Facebook group for like timeshare owners, and it's grown to over 40,000 people. And someone reached out and said, hey, we want to host you. You can stay at this room. We'll give you experiences. And at the end of the day, it was literally like, yeah, it came out to about $75,000. But so it started with my passion for that. And then sometimes when you're just doing the right things to be able to contribute, it comes to you. But the other part of it is also realizing the things that you want, somebody else is doing it. And what you said, your dream life is somebody's normal. And I've seen other people going to Maldives, it's normal. Flying in these cute suites on Qatar Airlines, it's normal for them. But I didn't want it to be my normal where I paid $13,000 for the room, or I paid $20,000 just for the seat from here to Maldives. But then I realized there's so many other ways of doing things. If you want to get to a certain destination, there's a lot of ways to get there. So once you commit to that, and also the biggest thing is learning from experts that are already doing it. Stop trying to figure it out yourself. I feel like so many people will watch you and be like, oh, I can do that. And then they get the wrong credit card. I mean, your credit cards should be working for you. Everything that you spend on there, if you have a great amount of spend, it should be working. You should have status. You should be getting upgraded all the time and staying at hotels and resorts for free.
Yeah, I wish I would have learned this whole optimization of points, the optimization of just the different things. I learned it late, but again, it's getting around the right people that actually exposed me of like, okay, this is why you guys have multiple credit cards, or this is why like you use this for this and this for this. So if you were to guess, or if you were to give advice to people, just general that it's listening today, is what would be your top 3 credit cards that you love and adore so much?
Okay, so this is very controversial because there's a lot of travel hackers out there, and I don't claim to be the queen of travel hacking.
Yeah.
I'm more of a queen of simplifying, the easier the better. And I know there's an audience for this because I'm that person too. If you told me get an Amex card and transfer here and do this and do that, you lost me at like step 2. So I'm very simple. I focus on timeshares. You can get rooms for as low as like $500 for the week. For example, Marriott Newport Coast Villas or Colina. There's one way of doing that. Number 2, as far as credit cards, is I only focus on American Airlines and for a hotel, because if I am not going to stay at a timeshare for a whole week, or if I'm going to a conference for 2 to 3 days and there's no timeshares there, I use the Marriott. So Marriott Bonvoy card, there is actually one that's going on. It was supposed to expire yesterday, but for some reason my link still works. But you can get 5 free 50,000 nights by just spending like $5,000 in 3 or 4 months or something like that. Marriott Bonvoy, it's a Visa card. And then for those that love Costco, I know you love Costco, so I've seen you at Costco before. Yeah, Visa, your Visa card, you can use any Visa card at Costco. So the Marriott Bonvoy is actually Visa. So I use that for like my Marriott when I go in conferences or just like a couple nights here and there. But everything else, I use my American Airlines card because what do you need when you go on vacations? It's airfare and hotel, right? And if you can earn points on experiences, there's so many ways to do that too. But I'm very simple. But if you just stuck with 2, whatever the airline is, whatever your favorite one, and the reason why I do American Airlines is because the easiest way to hit status, if you put all of your spend on that, especially for us that are realtors, or if we have a lot of expenses, you can get to the highest level, which is executive platinum, within 3 or 4 months. And I would say 90% of the time, you will get upgraded to first class. Like you and a companion, not just you.
That's awesome. So Michelle, is this for personal credit lines or business, or is it both?
So it's actually for both. So you can have a business American Airlines card. You can have a personal one. The way I do is actually I have one for my travel hacks, one for real estate for as far as business, and then another one for my personal. That's all American Airlines. And then the other, so the Bonvoy card, I split it because obviously there's Costco and then the Costco for my own stuff. And then there's the Marriott for my travel stuff, but the Marriott could be for travel hacking, or it could also be for conferencing. So it's a little bit more itemized in that way.
So audience, you guys have heard, if you guys are either listening to this or watching this on YouTube, you've heard her tricks in simplifying how you actually can get to spend $1 to get free trips or free perks in your travel. Michelle, you have kids that are a bit older, and you also have a hubby, Juan, who's in the business. And we have some people that listen to the show that have that same setup. So what advice would you give to our audience with some of the things that you've learned throughout the years of building with them?
Oh my God. That's probably was one of the toughest part of being in business. My husband and I have worked together for the past 26, 27 years. We met in timeshares. We're in real estate. He's very structured and I'm not. He loves corporate America and I don't. And so it's a constant struggle, but I would say 13 years ago, it was a matter of accepting the differences and appreciation versus expectations. So I feel like when we work with our spouses, we have so much expectations, right? But in reality, when we do that and we get so mad and we forget all the great things that they actually bring to the table. And there's different personalities. And I feel for us that we want to always clone ourselves because we want to get more things done. But in reality, we need different types of personalities for this thing to actually work. And as far as raising kids, actually, we're gonna be grandparents this year
I
for the first time. So excited. So our oldest son is 26, our daughter's 25, and then 18 and 16. Leading as an example, right? To be an inspiration for your kids, because there's nothing more that I want for them than doing something that they absolutely love, because it is possible. There's so many people just eating their lives away and selling every minute of their lives just to make money. And for me, regardless of how difficult sometimes it might be, especially in a changing market, I want them to know whatever it is, and even if it gets tough, it's definitely something that I love because it's allowed us to have this freedom and also do the things that I love to do. But it's everyone realizes that this is what mom does and this is how our life is. And this is how we can all support each other. And we're each other's biggest fans. There's nothing better than your daughter telling you, Mom, your event was amazing. I love you. I'm so proud of you. So if you can get those texts from your kids, that's definitely one of the things that makes me the most fulfilled and the happiest.
Yeah, you're definitely like nothing replaces those text message. It's like
No.
you're definitely winning over anything monetary that you could buy with
Yeah.
those text message. You talk a lot about opportunities, right? You always have seen opportunities. Did you develop that or were you actually born with it?
I don't know if I was born, but I do know I was raised. Initially, I grew up in Philippines, and when you're Filipina and you're smart, you can conquer anything. And I've had like great family and parents just because I was always like the top of the class. And I remember I was in the fourth of the class in fourth grade, and my parents didn't go to our annual graduation. And I remember that till this day. So I've always had to feel like I needed to be the best out of everything. But I've always known that there's so many ways to make money. And if you look at it, if you're not thinking that and your mindset is like that scarcity mindset where you just feel like you have to work for this and receive that, that when you have the mindset of I can make money off of this, I can spend $1 and get this, right? And then in reality, you start attracting all these different ways of how you can actually make income and passive income. And once you surround yourself with other people that are so much more talented than you, that are experts in their field, it's literally a shortcut to getting anywhere you want to go. And not only that, you're coming together with all these different experts that's really have obsessed about whatever it is that they absolutely love. So in reality, all they can do is teach you, right? And this is one of those things that I've had to learn over the years. I try to figure out to create my own website, all these things that we're just not talented in. And there's so many people that actually do love that, trying to figure out points. I love that, but just simplifying and doing those things and surrounding yourself. And honestly, you don't even have to seek it. At that moment that you say, this is what I want, you're going to start attracting those people and you're going to have to trust your gut. And you're going to have to realize when you have those feelings of having to make a big investment or a big decision, you just got to do it. You got to bet on yourself and know that this is what you want because it's always on the other side of that. Though I know you've invested a lot in coaches and events. I remember I had to spend $15,000 on an event. It was like 3 trips. And I'm like, wow, that was $5,000 per trip. And this was when we were making what, $1,000 per deal. So that was a lot. But at the end of the day, I met an investor from that, and he ended up selling like 30 of his houses with me. So you'll see all those different opportunities that will actually support that dream, but you do have to go all in and bet on yourself first. And it comes back to you. There's an opportunity in everything.
So perfectly said. I am such a big believer in you got to bet on yourself. If you're not going to bet on yourself, who's going to bet on you, right?
Exactly.
And definitely mentors, coaches, or getting yourself in the room, even when it's scary, even when you are making $500 to $1,000 in a commission check, and you're not wondering if this is going to be the event that actually helps you, right? So I love that, because I think that's a trend when you study successful people. They're willing to bet on themselves. They're willing to put themselves in the room. And I know with success, there always comes failures, right? And there's happiness. We can't have that without sadness. So what is one failure, if you've had any, that you look back on your journey and say, I'm glad that actually happened because it taught me XYZ?
There hasn't been a lot of where I felt like I'm a failure. It was always like, oh my God, I have to start all over again. And I thought I'm supposed to be done by now. But we're not really done until we die, until we get to heaven. I've learned to accept that I'm not done, right? So now it's changing my mindset to, okay, what's next? I'm literally ready for what's next, because it does get better and better. But I would say the toughest part was probably, especially to those that are watching in your 20s or in your 30s, let me tell you, your 40s gets way better. And I heard it's even better when you're in your 50s or 60s. But when we left timeshares, it was really tough. Like the older kids were in middle school. So of course they're teenagers going through some stuff. Then we had two babies. One was 1.5 and the other one was like 6 months old. And we had diapers and formulas. You guys, are expensive. Doctors' visits are expensive when they're little. So we had to roll coins from those water jugs, and you put like extra coins in there. We rolled coins and we had to take them to Walmart to get like formulas and diapers. Now I talk about that because I would say that was probably the most challenging part of our lives. Like, I've never not had money. I was 16 years old making like 35,000 a year, working 4 hours per day. So I grew up with money. So that was the first time where I felt like, wow, I didn't have the resources and the funds to even go get like diapers and milk and whatever else. Like, it got so bad to a point where we had to take back like irons at Costco to just get $20. So going through that, you do feel like a failure. But honestly, I look back at that now, where we've always figured out. We've always figured it out. And anything that can even happen now, if we had made it through that with 4 kids, the market crashing, losing houses, everything else, and we've managed to stay married, we've managed to raise amazing kids, we've managed to still go on vacations every year. Even that year, we went on a vacation to Disneyland, which, as you guys all know, is very expensive, but that's a whole other story of how we made that happen. But once you get through that, and when somebody says it's really tough right now, just know it will get tougher. It will get tougher, but once you get through it, it gets way better. And even if you're like in debt, and once you say, you know what, I'm going to turn it around, you can literally make $100,000 in a day, especially in real estate, right? Or whatever it is, it just comes to you. There's always ways to figure out a solution for everything.
I appreciate you being so transparent, because I think a lot of times, especially when we are unsure about our career in real estate, or we're unsure where this industry change is going to happen, you can start to get in the spiral of the what ifs. And it's always neat to see, like, all the top producers that you see on stages or in these virtual rooms, they've had low points. It doesn't just happen to you. And I think what it teaches you more than anything is, like you said, the lessons, but the resilience that you needed, that capacity to actually go bigger or to go build something better. And I definitely can resonate with that. Like the whole coins things, we couponed it during the like crazy market days, but we came from California selling lots of $1 million homes to giving up cars and all these things. But I think it humbles you and keeps you fresh, and it teaches you so much resilience. And you couldn't have said it any better. If you can go through that, and you can go through your lowest moments, you definitely can go through a lot of other things that now are just like, okay, what's the solutions? What are the options? We're going to figure it out.
Yes. And how does it get better from here? I feel like it does get way better. And it's so true when they say when it rains, it pours, right? It goes the other way. I know most people will relate that to something that's like negative, which is so true. But it's the same thing. It's like when you're looking at it and you apply it in a positive way, it does start pouring and you're just like, oh my God. And it comes from all different directions. And this is one thing I tell my team. If you're focused so much on this and you're just looking and it's pouring negativity every way you can turn, just turn the other way and turn the other way. And I'm like, all right, what are we looking at? Let's go to a new build with 5% commission. Let's go. And it's amazing for me to see how someone can go here and all of a sudden have 4 in escrow with bonuses and it's a matter of a shift. And that's what I mean when I'm like, your life can change at any moment. Your decisions that you make on a daily basis, little by little, a lot of times it just hits you. And as long as you're doing all the right things and the things that you absolutely love, people will see that. People will see everything you do. People will know when you're faking it. People will know when you hate what you do. If people can tell that, why not show the world? And honestly, I feel like I slack at social media, but I do my best and know if I'm going to put something out there, it's definitely something that I do love and support, even if it's just a little bit. So I'll go from like 0 to 100, like real quick.
I love it. Michelle, you've dropped so many different wisdom bombs, knowledge bombs, perspectives on life, family, business, travel, freedom, joy. What's next for you?
Oh my gosh.
Excited
I
that
don't even know. Honestly, I'm just open to anything. It's a little bit scary. I'm not really scared of anything, but it's scary because there's so much that I've said I wanted to do and it came true. And I don't know if it's really hard to explain because one will always say some of your struggles, no, not a lot of people can really relate to, right? Like, how am I going to be like, oh, I'm struggling with this and I'm going to Maldives and I'm in an overwater bungalow that I didn't pay anything for. But what I have realized is everything that I've always asked for, I have gotten. And that goes both ways, whether if it's positive or negative. At this point, I'm probably in that crossroads where everything is amazing. I'm learning and I'm being surrounded by some of the most intelligent and really smart people. And I feel like I have so much more space here that can get like where there's so much more that I can do. And it's just I'm like really at the beginning, even though I've done so much and I feel like I'm doing great things. Right now, it's just learning from who I surround myself with and how I can be better. I would say with systems and follow up and automation. I know I started that more kind of last year, but I don't even know where to go from here. But I do know everything that I've always wanted has always came true. One of my big goals is I always want to be like a TED speaker. I haven't worked that much on that. I tried to do what is that Toastmasters, but I don't like structure and I don't want to sound like a robot either.
That's awesome. I know like you are going to accomplish anything that you put your mind to. I've seen it over the years. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every single guest on the show is what does Michelle do to play bigger in business or in life?
What do I do to play bigger in business or in life? I always challenge myself. Oh, I do have one big goal. Sorry. I want to fly on a jet sometime this year. I haven't done that yet. But I know it's happening. What do I do to play bigger? I would say I love challenging myself in what I haven't been able to experience before and knowing that, okay, if I want that, I can have that. And for me, it's making sure that my kids are happy and my kids are happy with themselves and then with their parents and being supportive parents and just loving on them. I think that's the most, if I can fail on anything else, but if I failed on my family, that I would say that would probably be the biggest failure. playing bigger, I would say, is like in business wise, is being true to myself and leading as an example. I can't have my team do one thing and if I'm not willing to do it myself. And another thing too is just elevating the travel experiences and being able to inspire so many more. Because I know that if I can do it, if I'm able to be on 7 vacations in the first quarter or 7 trips in the first quarter of 2024, and if somebody does want that for me, I want somebody else to have that. Like that would bring the greatest joy. And it's happening. So we'll see. Maybe it's like a greater and a bigger community that I'm seeking that I can teach that to. But who knows? I know God has a bigger plan and I haven't even gotten started yet. This is just like the beginning of it.
Oh, so good, so good, so good, Michelle. I want to say thank you so much for being on our show. I freaking appreciate you. I love you. And I'm so excited for all the things that you always have coming on. So I cannot wait to keep supporting you in playing bigger, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor. I think like we don't talk to each other for a couple years or whatever else, but aside from social media, I want you to know that you're one of those people that I admire as a mom, as a business owner. I admire your partnerships with other people. I admire that you believe in other people's talents. And I remember just learning from you where I'm like, okay, I want to be a better networker. And who best to learn from? I would say you're probably one of the best networkers that are out there. You have amazing ways to make people feel special and you encourage whatever their talents are. So there's no more words that I can even say aside from the fact that I love what you do, I admire what you do, and I love that your kids and your husband just look at you and just be at awe at all times. But thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to share whatever it is that I have with your community. And I'm looking forward to doing this again soon, or hopefully I'll get to see you on another event.
Michelle, you were going to make me cry.